Living in the Pacific Northwest, it's not unusual to spot wildlife. It's that connection to nature that interests ecologist and wildlife conservationist Chris Morgan. Morgan is the host of KUOW's podcast, The Wild. It's in its third season, and it takes listeners across the PNW and the world.
It's been incredible, actually, because it enables us to tell stories that I'm passionate about. You know, I'm a complete wildlife nut. Nature is my whole life. And working with our partner KUOW is just fantastic because we're reaching big audiences with something that we all love doing that feels like it's important for the world. And people seem to be really enjoying it. So we're in the third season now, especially this crazy year and a half that we've all had. People have needed a little bit of a dose of nature more than ever. So being able to put the earbuds in and completely disappear to Belize or the Pacific Northwest forests or mountains, you know, it's kind of magical.
I do actually have a question about one member of the wild kingdom, ravens.
I'm in raven heaven. Oh, he just flew away. I'm in Sitka in Alaska, and I've never seen so many ravens in my life. It's amazing.
Apparently, you are very excited. You like ravens a lot. What is it about the raven?
It stems back when I'm a grizzly bear guy. That's my first passion and love and expertise, right? So grizzly bears have introduced me to so many different creatures and people around the world, and in different ways and different shapes and forms. They've been incredible. So in the mid-90s, I was working on a grizzly bear project in the Canadian Rockies near Banff National Park, a place a lot of people know and have visited. And there's a lot of grizzly bears there. And so we were out doing the capture work, and then we had to radio collar the bears to try and follow where they were moving and understand their habitat needs. And I hadn't thought about a raven until now, but as we were doing that, these grizzly bears would sometimes be on kills, you know, so they'd kill prey and they'd be sitting out in the forest with them. The first time you know about it is by the call of a raven. So you hear this, you know, out in the forest, and you're like, okay, the hair on the back of your neck stands up because, you know, potentially there's a grizzly bear kill there and the raven is eating it. So they were like this early warning system for us. That was in the mid-90s, and I just became obsessed with them and, you know, didn't do much research on them or dive deep, but just wherever I was, wherever they were, there was something kind of magical in the air. And because they're so incredibly smart. And I think the curious thing about them is that most people think that they're, I don't like to say just another crow, because crows, all of the crow family are very smart, but ravens sort of rise above it. They're bigger. It's ravens that we see on totem poles from indigenous peoples and Native American tribes. And, you know, there's something historic, spirit. Odin, the god, the Viking god, had a raven on each shoulder. So wherever I am and I hear them, there's something cool about it.
I've always liked raven. I like the call they make, which you, by the way, do a very, very good
lots of practice.
raven call. But there is that kind of connection between humans and wildlife. It's very special. It's magical, I guess you could say. What have you learned all these years?
I think the main thing to remember is that, you know, we have this relationship with wildlife, but we're not apart from wildlife. We're a part of wildlife and the same ecosystems. My hero, David Attenborough, says a lot. And I think people lose sight of that. You know, we're a part of this amazing ecosystem that we call planet Earth. And especially here in the Pacific Northwest, you know, we're so lucky to have the coasts, the mountains, the forests, and all of the species. And, you know, the bears and cougars and wolves are mostly my focus and everything that comes with it. And I just think over the years of working with these creatures as a researcher and a storyteller now through the podcast and the films that we've made and things like that, it just becomes more and more obvious to me that people feel slightly disconnected. And the second they start to feel connected, even if they're not out there in person, but if they're connected through their ears or through a film or an experience someone has, it's super powerful. I think we're just hairless apes at the end of the day. You know, you scratch beneath the surface and we're pretty primal ape beings at the end of the day. And
that is the truth. We
think we're so fancy and clever on Zoom calls and cell phones. And, you know, we've been around for a nanosecond on this planet. And it's kind of interesting to think about our shared history.
You love the raven. I know that you love bears as your primary focus when it comes to animals, but are there any other animals that you find fascinating and you want to share with us?
You know, I love the big cats. 2 of the episodes from this season took us to Belize. My fiance and I, Brenda Phillips, was one of the producers on the Belize episode. So we got to go very cautiously and safely in December. And we spent the month down there in the rainforest tracking jaguars. And it was one of the most incredible experiences. We also did an episode down there on Scarlet Macaws, you know, the giant parrots, these big, colorful icons of the jungle. With the macaws in Belize, it was a lovely story because their rainforest is intact in one part of the country of Belize, and then but the scientists found out that they migrate across the Maya Mountains, and when they do, they arrive in a place where their forest is not quite so intact and it's threatened, and people are cutting down trees, and there's all kinds of factors there. But there's this one farmer there, and he's planting trees for these macaws, so that in the years to come, these trees will have fruit that the macaws, when they arrive from across the mountains, when they arrive at his farm, they'll have something to eat. So it's a very sweet story, and it made me kind of fall in love with those birds and where they live.
Well, episodes of KUOW's The Wild Season 3 are out right now, including that very cool one on the ravens. You can download and listen wherever you get your podcasts.